Today, I'm going to show you how you can take Ableton Live's Echo, completely blank, on its own, nothing else, like this. And with it, create a rack that will let you make endless, customizable risers, like this. You get the idea. The entire premise for this video is based off of one single fact of my personality, and that is that I hate, more than anything else, scrolling through samples. Frankly, it is the whole reason why I do sound design, is because nothing pulls me out of music making more than scrolling through samples over and over again. And the samples that I probably hate scrolling through the most are risers. Because here's the deal. At their core, risers are white noise. But if I'm making a riser sample pack, I'm going to put a whole bunch of effects and other things on it to try to make my riser stand out amongst all the other risers. I get it. It makes perfect sense. But when you have all that extra processing layered on, you then have to either find the exact perfect riser that works with the track that you are producing, or you have to settle for something that is less than ideal. And I'm not particularly interested in that. And so that got me thinking, could I make a riser generator rack in Ableton Live that would just produce risers for me? And the answer is yes. And you can do it with pretty much just one audio effect. So today, I'm going to show you how you can make a riser generator of your own using Echo. Now we're going to go over how to make a basic riser generator together. But if you want a more complete and feature-packed one, which is the one that I've made for myself, you can go ahead and grab it from my website, zwbuckley.com. You can pick it up on its own, or it is a part of my Total Preset bundle. And if you already own my Total Preset bundle, then you should go download it because you already have access to it. To make an effective riser generator, we first have to ask, what is being raised? And the answer to that is tension. And by keeping that in mind, we can actually create an effective riser. Now, the thing that I often tell my students, and I'm going to now tell you, dear subscriber, oh, that's so weird, okay. So the thing that I often tell my students, which I am now telling you, is that if you want to convey a particular movement or gesture musically, it's best to convey it in two ways. So take, for example, this white noise that I have here, which, as I said, is usually the foundation of most risers. One of the ways that risers raise tension is through volume. They generally get louder over time. And so if I add a fade here, this is one form of tension I'm adding. So we get a little bit of tension, but partway through it plateaus. And that's the kiss of death for any sort of riser. You need to keep it moving. So to really make sure that that gesture of tension gets across, we need to imply it a second way. So if I engage this instance of autofilter that is sweeping through the frequency spectrum, we are now implying tension in two separate places. And this is a basic but effective riser. So if you're unfamiliar with Echo, it is one of Live's delays, and it is meant to mimic a tape delay. And that is the key to this effect. We have a character tab here, and one of the functions in there is this toggle for noise. And this will just simply generate a noise signal. And so normally this is used to just add character, but if we crank it up, it's just going to create a constant hum that we can use. Additionally, it has this morph control that changes the sonic character of the noise. We'll come back to the morph control. So because of this noise feature and the additional features in Echo, we can create a riser generator rack that achieves what this white noise riser sample does. So let's establish our first tension point, which is amplitude. So I'm going to right click on echo and I'm going to group it upon itself. And from there, I'm going to hit the show hide macros toggle. And I'm going to reduce the number of macros present. So we just have one. We only need one. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to map the wet dry to macro 1. We're going to leave the noise all the way active all the time. And because we aren't running any signal into echo, we can use the wet dry as an amplitude control. And you can then use this output level to set the ceiling. At this point, it would set the ceiling at 0 decibels, but you could set it as much as 12 decibels or as negative infinity if you, for some reason, don't want a riser. Now we need to create that second point of tension through filtering. And we can actually, once again, do that just within Echo itself. So if we go back over to the Echo tab, all the way at the bottom, there is this filter here. I missed this for like the first year that Echo was out. So we have a low pass filter and we have a high pass filter. Now, if we just go ahead and map both of these to macro 1, you have a band pass filter. And because they are now both mapped to macro 1, if I just go ahead and sweep the macro, you've got a riser. But it was pretty quiet. And the reason for that being is that the resonance is set to 0. So if we just crank up the resonance, and once again, we can add up to 12 decibels of output if you need this sucker loud. Now, generally, whenever you're creating a rack, it's worthwhile opening up the mapping menu to refine your mappings, which is exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the M on our audio rack, which opens up the mapping menu. And the first thing that I'm actually going to do is I am going to go ahead and map the on-off to macro 1 for echo. And I am going to set the minimum to 127 and the max to 126. And what this is going to do is it's going to shut the rack off when it reaches its peak. Because if you don't, it's just going to hang out producing noise at 20,000 hertz, and that is not useful. So I want to get all the way up to the top of the macro and I want to cut off the riser, which this will achieve. Beautiful. I also want it to start a little higher than 20,000 hertz. So I'm actually going to set the cutoff at its lowest to be 50,000 hertz. I don't need all of those sub-frequencies in our riser. I would filter them out anyway with an EQ after the fact. And then finally, I actually want to map the resonance to macro 1 for both as well to refine that a bit. So I want the resonance to be maxed out at the beginning, and I want it to dip just ever so slightly to 0.25 at its apex. This way we won't get as much going on in those higher frequencies. And that's going to make it overall way easier to mix. Now let's talk about a few different ways in which you can add your own spin to your riser generator. Now, if we want to stick to the confines that we've set for ourselves of echo and one single macro, one way we can do that is to add reverb. So let's go ahead and map the reverb to macro 1, and that's going to add a sense of space as we bring in the riser. And then another way that you can approach that is to go to the character tab and map the morph as well, which is going to add a much more mechanical feel. Now, if I jump over to my riser generator, the way that I approach this is adding in modulation. So my first macro, similar to the one macro that we've built on our simple riser generator, is to just add the riser. I also then have that same noise control to change the tone. And I've introduced feedback. The reverb is also there, but really what makes it different is this modulation. And you can do some really cool things with that. I have a preset here called Zap Siren. And it's amazing how something as so simple as filtered modulated white noise can be so musically expressive. It's a good lesson on how important the fundamentals are, which if you subscribe to my newsletter, you know that I am constantly advocating for returning to the basics of music production over and over again as the actual road to becoming an advanced producer. So the final thing then that you might be wondering is, how do I actually apply this rack in my productions? Because it is a standalone thing, you don't really need to run it on anything. So you could absolutely have it on its own track. Here I just have it on a MIDI track. I think one of the easiest places to place it is actually onto a return track. And so you can actually just grab it and have it set up on a return track that then at any point when you need a riser, you can just automate that riser in. Because the nice thing then is you can add extra lanes of automation onto this return track to do different things with it. And at no point will this automation get confused with any other devices or effects that you have. And I'm truly just tossing automation on here as I am talking to you to just illustrate that point. And let's just do some really weird movement here. It's like at any point, then you can just resample this and start to create your own riser library as well, which I mean, of course, then starts to like defeat my original purpose of this video, which is to not have to dig through samples, but other people might like them. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please consider subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. I'm working really hard to try to grow this channel to 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. As I said at the start of the video, if you want to support this channel, you can go to my website and pick up this riser generator. Or if you already own my Total Bundle, you've already got access to it, it's yours. And if you do own the Total Bundle, thank you so much for taking that step to support what I'm doing here on this channel. Till next time.